this time of year again, the end of the year. It's our last two episodes, effectively, of the messy middle. Tomorrow I think tomorrow's Christmas Day, and should be an interesting time all around the world. Christmas Day and it's Hanukkah. It's nice how it's both this time of year. I don't know when Kwanzaa is. Frank would know that. But we wanted to dive into it. We'll make these two episodes quick because everybody's doing their fun holiday things. Uh, Predictions from last year and predictions from this year. So we made some bold predictions, um, and let's cover them and see where we're at. I'm happy to start with myself, and then I think Teddy can go, and then Frank can go. Um, we listened to these predictions before, so we suggest everyone to listen to episode, what is it, Step 9?
Yes,
Is that what it is?
step
Step
nine,
9
episode
from
nine.
last year. You'll see Teddy's wearing a fun Santa hat. And it goes deep into these projections. So my four projections were, the first one was that SpaceX would successfully launch Starship beyond orbit. And whatever SpaceX does this year, they will go beyond what everyone thought is possible, including saving, unknown, things, right? I think I nailed
You
that.
nailed that one, yeah.
Yeah. I said there'd be tons of tech IPOs. That is a total no. I did not nail that at all. I thought the market would open up, and why this contextually makes sense from last year's point of view is I felt, well, IPOs are going to have to open up because private markets, people want their money back, like, and the economy is at an all-time high, and it just makes sense. Um, and I was wrong, and I was wrong for many reasons. I was mostly wrong because these companies are not viable public companies, the majorities that want to go public, and a lot of the ones that weren't viable public companies either got sold, or they died, um, or they're just waiting longer to do it. I think recently you saw that Stripe raised a bit more money now again at a significant valuation. Um, and I actually don't think when they IPO they'll do well. AI. I mentioned that Stability AI would go bankrupt, and they didn't go bankrupt, but they were entirely recapped. They fired their CEO, or he resigned, Ahmad. He was like all the rage, if you guys remember. They raised 100 million bucks, and that was it. And he was supposed to be the guy to take on OpenAI. It did not. So Sean Parker actually came in, saved the day, put some money in. We have not heard of Stability AI since then. So effectively, I think I kind of got pretty close to being right on that one.
Mhm.
And the last one was that I wanted some stable cash flow. And I predicted that I would have some cash flow for this year. And bing, 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 that happened. And I feel good about that. And those are my recaps for the year. I think what we can do is we all do our cover of the predictions from last year, and then we should then each of us do our predictions for next year. So Teddy, you first. How did you fare with not you first,
I
you
got
next?
time. Yeah, I got time to look to listen to what I said. But I can't verify some of those, so I'll let you guys also share what you think happened. I talked about longevity. I thought that longevity. I mean, that's kind of a good one. Longevity. We'll see a lot more startups created in longevity, but not a lot of success stories in 2024. And we will see the successes maybe in 4, 5, 6 years. And I think I'm not sure if it's the echo chamber, but like the people that I'm following, there's a lot of longevity things going on. Uh, Part of the PF group that we're all part of, there are a lot of people launching longevity startups in one form or another. So there's a lot more conversation around that. I think also I mentioned Brian Johnson, what he's done this last 12 months. It's been incredible in terms of raising the awareness. A lot of people don't agree with what he's doing, but I think it's a great experiment, and he's willing to try on all of those new drugs or methods or tools on him and share the results with the world. And a lot more people are now aware of this new sort of movement. Then I talked about Web3. I said that Web3 is going to be that in 2023 Web3 was sort of gone, but then somehow it's coming back and it's going to become part of products. Not necessarily talking about purely Web3, but products will integrate Web3 and they are not even going to advertise it as such. And I think that holds true because, like in our example, Frank, with Electis, like you don't talk about Web3, although maybe part of your infrastructure has still some blockchain or core of it is blockchain. I mentioned the Starbucks example. That's also the case where they have the rewards program on blockchain. I'm not sure about the results, but I think Web3 in general, it's part of a lot of applications now. It powers a lot of applications. What goes against this prediction is I haven't seen any larger Web3 investment or any big news in the past 12 months. I'm not sure if that's it was a good prediction, maybe like 60% on a good side. And then I talked about as a subcategory of Web3, Frank asked me, do I think Bitcoin will break the price? We'll see all-time high. My confidence wasn't as high back then, but I took into consideration the halving event and the approving of the ETF, so that kind of made sense back then, and it turned out to be true. And I still feel like it's gonna go a little bit up, although we saw the dip the last couple of days because of various circumstances. And the last thing I said was related to solo entrepreneurs. Coming from a perspective where AI will help with a lot of things, and we'll see a lot more startups actually working on crazy ideas, but like smaller startups. The size of the team won't matter as much, but how focused they are and what kind of AI tools they're using. I'm not sure about this one. Again, it's echo chamber. I see a lot of solo founders launching a bunch of different ideas, testing hypotheses, even us playing with some tools over the last 12 months. But I'm not sure if I'm seeing what I expected to see back then. I sort of felt that there will be a lot more of those solo entrepreneurs. Maybe there is. Maybe there are individuals who are not necessarily solo, but like very smaller teams compared to what we are used to seeing before. One of the things I said back then is that I don't think, and I hope that we'll see a lot more bootstrap startups. Uh, Again, I'm not sure if that was a good one, because I don't think that's true anymore. I think I was wrong there. And Frank, I think you said VC is not going anywhere. I think just because of AI, the game has flipped again, and VC are pouring money into startups. I think I missed that one. Although I'm seeing some solo entrepreneurs or more solo entrepreneurs or smaller teams. Yeah, so those were my three big ones.
Thanks, Teddy. Frank.
Yeah. Yeah, if I go back to my three prediction, the first one was that we would have the first video that would be live translated with AI. That did happen with Javier, the Milei, that had like this talk translated. What I was wrong is that I thought it would be a big deal for people. I think it will be. I just think like maybe I overestimated it, but I think my understanding now is that the economic impact of this thing will be soft. And I'm sure we'll look back and we'll be like, holy shit, there's like billions of dollars shifting. And then we'll realize it's because translation made it possible. I also talked about whether or not we'll reach the limit of model training. I said we don't know, but what I said is we'll see more and more multimodal, things coming, which did happen. And I said also we'll start to see business being rebooted with AI, which start to happen. It's pretty shy, but I think maybe this one over anticipated at all. I said the US debt will become a big issue, whoever got elected. And I said I was predicting that the US will stop supporting the war in Ukraine. It didn't happen in a year, but I'm pretty sure in January that's going to happen. So I'm not sure if I can get this one or not correct. And I said Europe will be in deep shit, which also happens, but maybe I over anticipated. My last one was Taiwan. I was making a big bet. I just Googled Taiwan invasion, and now I see China is putting $210 billion on their military. The DoD say they might not invade until 2027. But anyway, it's still there, but no one really cares. And I'm glad I was wrong about this one. I don't know. Let's hope I'm still wrong for the next couple of days, but at least that I was wrong about.
Those were our predictions. So I think we all had some pretty interesting predictions. And it was a crazy year. I think it was a fun year, but also a crazy year all around.
Yeah,
And
predictions.
let's do our predictions for 2025. Let's go backwards. Frank, do your prediction first.
Well, I'll try to take less risk so I can have more win.
Wait. Before we do that, who won out of the predictions?
I think you,
Oh,
Gabriel.
yeah, I think Gabriel, but Gabriel took less risk, clearly. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You did good.
I like to dedicate my winnings to
Sunset
Sunset
Boulevard.
Boulevard. So
No, I agree. That's
it's
good.
our sponsor of this week's episode.
It's true.
Okay, Frank, let's go.
All right, cool. I'm gonna go from easiest to hardest, maybe. The first one would be that we'll start to see the first agentic funds, like venture
Yeah.
firms who are going to invest in agent startups. Because the reason right now is VCs, even they're very excited about AI, didn't have time to raise or didn't have really time to deploy. We start to see that moving, but it's obviously that, especially since Satya talked about it, obviously Teddy and I, and been very big on agent for a while. I think a year ago we were talking about agentic oriented programming.
Yeah.
So anyway, agent's going to be big. That's obvious. Number two, okay, maybe this one's a little riskier. I'm gonna go and take a risk that there's gonna be a first AI movie going viral somewhere on YouTube or something like that.
It's a cool one.
And number three would be that AI is going to be used for Doge for reducing government spending, and that might become super interesting. So anyway, my three predictions,
So
which
all
I
under
try to
the
express in a way that they're measurable, so it's like I want to be sure it's like yes, no on each one.
all under the AI umbrella. Mostly
Yeah, I was thinking
any.
about talking about Bitcoin, but I'm like, I'm not sure. It's gonna be, is it gonna be 150, 250, 99? I'm not sure it's super interesting. So
That's
I
speculation.
I only have three, so I went for that.
I like that. Teddy.
My first one is also agentic stuff. But the reason I'm saying this is it's been obvious, as Frank said, we've been talking about this, working on this for some time now. But like back in 2014, I started developing something related to agents. And even back then, I was thinking, what are the missing pieces for this sort of agentic stuff to work and how these agents will operate? One key piece that's missing. So let me put the prediction first. I think web agents are as big as mobile, or 10,000 times maybe bigger than the mobile opportunity. 2025 will be the year of the agent, where we'll see some sort of concentration or how do I put this? A platform or a place where you can discover agents, sort of the marketplace that Apple and Google have with Play Store and Apple Store. And I'm not sure if you guys seeing me still because my camera went off.
We can
For
see
some
you.
see you.
reason.
Don't worry. We can
Okay,
see you.
cool.
Keep going.
So back in like Google Play Store, Apple App Store, these players were well positioned to take the market. But with the agents right now, we still have the big players, but we may see someone else working on this infrastructure that later on will be acquired by one of these big players. And I think that the key piece of this that's going to happen in 2025 is some way to discover agents, like a discovery protocol or a platform or a marketplace of some sort where you can just what's the best agent for this, what's the best agent of that. And I don't
Sorry,
believe that's
just for history and to clarify, like how is it different from OpenAI, GPTs, for example?
Yeah, the OpenAI GPTs is very closed ecosystem and it's limited to their models. And agents are more sophisticated than some simple GPTs. AI agents are more like there's prompt engineering involved, but there's also tooling. The agents have tools. These tools can do various
Okay.
activities, capture data
So
from
something
there.
different from that.
Yeah, so like OpenAI released this agent where you can call ChatGPT right now on your phone. But there will be different verticals of these agents, and you need a way to find these agents. How do you know what's the best HR agent, the best code analyzer, the best this, the best that? So you have to have some sort of platform or place or a way how these agents communicate to each other. So yeah, that's the one. Then the other ones are more general predictions. I haven't really put a lot of thoughts, but I still feel like in the longevity space we'll see some major breakthrough. I don't know what that is, but I'm sort of seeing these little pieces moving in different verticals, and it feels like we're closer to a breakthrough. I'm not sure if we can quantify this next year when we talk about longevity, But when I say a breakthrough, I think something like here's the cure for cancer and it's going to work. Something of
Agree. Agree.
that sort of magnitude. I expect to see that. And then the third one is, I mean, we'll see some new. I guess maybe there are four right now when I think about it and look at my list. One is related to space, although I don't know what exactly. I think there will be a lot of startups focused on working around space, not exactly maybe launching satellites or uh, doing any like out of the earth thing, but still space related, like new suits or new technologies for when we go to Mars or things like that. So we'll see a lot more because it feels that the market is opening up and people learn more about space and they're encouraged to try new things driven by successes of Elon Musk and the likes. Something around that, again, not really quantifiable. I think it feels that quantum will be big one because of Google releasing that chip, but I just think similar to what I said about longevity. We'll see a lot more startups playing with quantum, but not a lot of successes in 2025. And then a lot of robots. With NVIDIA releasing this micro, not micro,
Oh
but
yeah,
this
yeah.
little chip that can be put
Totally.
in any, it can be put in any sort
Yeah.
of device
But
that you have at home.
that's for prediction. I would take
So
robots too. Then I agree.
yeah, I mean, the way I think about robots right now is what NVIDIA did is the Arduino, or what Arduino did previously with
Yeah.
their micro thing.
Well,
So I think we'll see a lot of things with that. So that's probably,
yeah.
yeah,
They,
robots is the fourth one.
just as a quick note, but they already had Jetson. My robot has Jetson, but you're right. What they did now is like a super Uber. That's crazy. It's super cheap for trillions of operation per second.
Yeah,
It's insane.
yeah.
Now down to my predictions. I don't think any wars will end next year. I think there'll be continuation of the wars. One, because I
But
think,
including Ukraine or not? Sorry, just to.
including Ukraine, I do not see Ukraine ending anytime soon. In fact, my belief is Ukraine will continue to go because there's too much money to be made off of sort of the defense industry. And the largest line item on the budget of the United States government is the DoD spending. So, and I think Trump's going to push hard for NATO to increase their spending to 5%. So why stop the war anytime soon? I don't want to think beyond 2025. I just think it's going to be one of those things where the war is just going to keep going. Um, I think there's going to be a huge shift in the M&A markets. We're going to be having obviously a change at the top of the FTC in America. Thank God. And I think there's going to be a lot more M&A that's going to happen. I don't necessarily know how that's going to change the IPO market. IPOs have been challenging for the last few years, and it's unclear if we need IPOs if we have enough M&A. I think the economy will contract at the end of the year because I'm looking at some of these things where we want to remove the debt ceiling. We want to do all of these interesting things that might cause major concern, like tariffs. I think all of that's actually going to cause the economy to contract. Um, I'm not talking about like AI component of the economy. I'm talking about sort of the regular positioning of what we normally see historically as the largest parts of our economy. And now tech is now the largest part. Um, and then I like doing the personal ones. I think I'm going to move to somewhere a little bit more permanently, even though I love to travel, so I never really live anywhere permanently. And I will start a new company next year. 100%. That's what's going to happen. Um, those are my predictions. I'm uncertain about the economy one, but I'm actually very certain about the first two, which is the wars are not going to end and there's going to be M&A.
I want to hear, thanks for sharing that, Gabriel. I want to hear Frank's take on defense tech, if you have any thoughts on that. I saw that there's a lot of, Palantir just released a video of the future war where you're like a director and then there's like a drones flying and you can, I don't know if you have any thoughts on if we're going to see any movement, America becoming the leader in a sense of, I don't know, drones, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I work a little bit on defense advice fund in France. I went to the meetup, the defense meetup in Estonia. To me, yeah, I mean, defense tech is just going to keep growing for one specific obvious reason, which is the war that happened in Ukraine is a different type of war. The same in Israel, and so which means these are war where France, even the US, don't really have any direct experience. And so we are at a strategic disadvantage on that type of things. And at the same time, the US is extremely well positioned on AI. So it's very obvious that we need to adapt. We need to learn how to do this new war using, drones and all of that. And so the point of view on defense tech is still like it's going to be heavily growing, and I would say it's going to heavily grow in the US, not in Europe, because Europe will have a lot of debates about how to use AI for a military purpose. It's going to take some time to address those. And there's not going to be less conflict next year. It's obvious we need more and more conflict. Ukraine, when I say the war is going to end in Ukraine, what I mean is no more missile. Like a missile was sent today in Kiev as for context. And so, whatever, even if there's no peace agreement, as long as there's no aggression and no more military, expansion, then to me, you can call it peace. But yeah, we'll see. But the rest of the region, I don't know what's going to happen, honestly. And it's going to be good because at least we have one disagreement with Gabriel, which is to me the US economy is going to be awesome.
I would
Maybe
love
not.
for the
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I don't think it's going to be awesome after a year. But I don't think it's going to be that bad. We'll see.
I think we're in for a rude correction. I mean, I'm looking at the stock market now, and it's challenging times. But I would love to be,
Oh, me too. I mean, I'm uncertain, but
wrong.
for
But
context, when you
okay.
watch this video, like yesterday, we dropped 4% on the market because the rates were, we're not going to have as much of a drop,
Great.
in the next 2 years. So,
Yep.
so everybody's depressed right now. Everybody lost 5%. Bitcoin even went under 100K, which I'm curious to know what it means next year, but it's just funny.
So those were our predictions of this year for the upcoming next year and our recaps from last year. Let's get a quote, guys.
By the way, sorry, a general observation about our prediction. Like some are right and some are wrong. But I do believe some of them might just be right, but not at a year scale, maybe 2 or 3 years. Like a lot of what Teddy said, I think is going to happen too. Like it's just like maybe not a year, maybe in 2 years, maybe 3 years. And
Or maybe 10
sometimes it's
years.
like, and sometimes I think that's what's hard to see is you can make a prediction, and it may be right, but the timing is really difficult to measure, right?
Yeah. I was thinking about the predictions when I listened to our last year episode. Like I'm not sure. Like some of the predictions were obviously good in predicting stuff, but then on another hand, no one really predicted Elon getting into politics and how that will affect, I don't know, elections or.
I didn't see that happen.
There are a lot of
hard.
these things that we not even consider, but they're dramatically changing a lot of the other moving parts and changing our predictions. So I'm not sure if we're good or terrible at predicting stuff. What do you guys think?
I think
we're decent.
Yeah, I think. I mean, it's not. We didn't have like 3 wrong predictions, all of us.
So, I mean, like for what the 3 of us do and the career that we picked, we have to be sort of decent at some predictions.
No, I think to me, what would be more fun to do as an exercise, maybe another time, is to do our 10 years prediction. We put a YouTube video and we'll check in 10 years. That's more fun because then we can be a little bit more wild, about the things we predict. It's like it's hard
like
to
self-driving cars might still not be everywhere in 10 years. I hope they are.
We'll have a first robot army taking over. Yeah, I feel like we should try the 10 years. I think 10 years is going to be more fun. At least this way we can unleash.
Let's do it next year.
Yeah.
Okay, here's my quote. We need smart people with huge hearts and creative minds to manifest all the wealth, resources, and support they need to make their difference in the world.
Amen.
Cheesy. We'll talk to everybody next week on New Year's Eve for our last episode of the Messy Middle for the year.
Bye.
Bye.